Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dimitri and this is Value Cars Australia, and I am delighted to report once again on the results of my annual massive road trip. Over 2,000 kilometers road trip that I take in the car every year, taking my family up the coast from Sydney to Gold Coast. In this particular case, we have driven about 1,000 kilometers one way and about 1,000 kilometers the other way. And I am reporting on how the car, this Haval H6, performed on the drive. Plus, I'm happy to give you a few other insights, a few other things that popped up. It is not directly related to the model of the car, which is why I think it would be useful to anyone who is considering to take long road trips in pretty much any of the vehicles in Australia at the very least, but I'm sure it's also not limited just to our shores. If you're watching this video considering whether or not Haval H6 is a suitable SUV, suitable vehicle for long distance trips in Australia, please do not worry. It is fantastic. It drives like a dream. It handles really well on the road. It has 2.0 liter engine, petrol in this particular case. This is not a hybrid model. It's a Lux version. It doesn't have the unnecessary sunroof. Yes, somewhere in Northern Europe it would be welcome, but in Australia, in this crazy sun that's today, that was for all our trip, kind of all along the way, I was thinking several times that I'm actually glad I don't have an extra glare from the sunroof, even with a little bit of the shade covered. But as you know, in say MG, those shades are semi-transparent, so they are not very good. The sun is still in here. So on a hot day, not having a sunroof is a benefit. So Lux model in this particular case that I'm sitting in is actually better than the one with a sunroof, in my humble opinion. Okay, handles like a dream, drives nicely, enough power, good acceleration, great overtaking, good handling. In order for all of that to happen, of course, you need to, in my humble opinion, straight away disable the emergency lane keeping assist system. That is, if you're not one of those people who should not have a driver's license and who thinks that the car should be driving for you. Yes, I'm talking directly to you. You know who you are, and there are many of you, unfortunately. So, hand over the license. I'm gonna stand here and wait. Do not drive, okay? If you think that your car needs to drive for you. Okay, disable ELK is my first advice. I heard enough about Haval vehicles struggling with cruise control, especially safety of the cruise control, like that braking, autonomous braking happening on the curves. And I already am enough annoyed with underbaked electronics here in Haval H6, that is with ELK that I just spoke to you about. So I did not use cruise control. Yes, process that, let's get this out of the way, vent it out, talk to me in the comments what I'm missing. I did not want extra probability of anything happening to me. I did not want any extra possibility of incidents, any incidents on the road. Plus, I like driving. That's why I freaking drive. And for those who don't like drive, don't expect automated systems to drive for you. I already said that. So, I did not use cruise control. I don't have a problem of having a foot in the same position and having it on the pedal. Plus, I'm from traditional society and I've been driving since before some of you were born, probably, I don't know. And that's why I don't expect an autopilot to autopilot things for me. Even such a already accepted traditionalized autopilot as cruise control. I did not use one and I was fine, by the way. I was fine, yeah. What else? Now, connectivity of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Yes, it's gonna mention the wireless connectivity, and yes, I do partner up and I promote adapters that are my kind sponsors offering you at a discount and giving me a tiny kickback that I'm yet to buy a couple of cups of coffee from, in case you think that I'm getting too rich from it. Far from it, okay? In case it matters to you. But regardless, wireless CarPlay adapters are better than wires. At least in Haval H6. Wires are unreliable. Wires get disconnected. Wireless CarPlay adapters such as CarPuride CarPlay system, the one that has a screen, the one that has Android Auto or Apple CarPlay self-contained within the unit, it does not rely on any dingy electronics of Haval. It has everything connected directly. That's why I am personally remaining a very big fan of CarPuride. If you don't mind spending a little bit of space that your car has here on the dash in front, donating it to that placement of the screen. So if you don't mind extra screen being in your field of view, or if you want one, if you don't have one, if yours is busted, yada yada yada, then Copuride is worth extra money compared to let's say those more cheap simplistic wireless CarPlay adapters that are a lot more affordable and they have their own use. But I think Copuride is a winner for Haval H6, for any other vehicle that does benefit from an extra screen. That is my humble opinion, okay? I've been using both. I've been using Copuride, then I took it off, and I'll tell you why I took it off. It's not because I don't like it. I took it off. It's for another reason altogether. Stick around a little bit longer. And as far as the something more simple, something like the, you know, the this lovely CarLinkit wireless adapter, I've used this one on the journey as well. I've used both. Yes, I kind of combined business and pleasure this drive up. Well, it was a lot of time. I drove with one, I drove with another, I swapped them. And this one worked fine as well. It was nicely placed on my screen here, on Haval screen, or the built-in electronic screen. However, I'll have to honestly tell you that even being a wireless adapter, not reliant on wires, it has intermittently disconnected once. It disconnected once on me. And I then took it off, like I disconnected it, went back, whatever. But I did not basically persevere to see if it repeats itself. I think it has nothing to do with the adapter. I think it has something to do with the baked-in electronics and Android Auto specifically connectivity of Haval H6. That's what I think. Please talk to me in the comments down below if you have CarLinkit or any other adapter, Autocast, Benize, any of those lovely people who also keep sending me those adapters for reviews, and I will be reviewing more of them. I still think there is great value in them, but at least my Haval vehicle, at least H6, seems to be still suffering from the same problem of intermittent disconnects, even if it's on wireless adapter. Why? Because this guy relies on the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay that's built into Haval H6. While Copuride, let's say with its extra screen, with its extra smarts there, does not. That is why I think I overall had a much better experience with Copuride than I had with this particular thing. That's just my opinion. My wife is still very happy with her Autocast. My wife is still happy with this CarLinkit system. Intermittently we changed it in her car as well a few weeks ago. So yeah, please take a look in the promotion codes and in the discounts that are still provided by our kind sponsors in the description of this video. Pays for an occasional coffee, at least in theory, when I decide to cash in ultimately the $6, all the $6 that I made from all of you poor people watching my channel. But ultimately, if you really want to make your life easier, I would say get Copuride. If you have a Haval, get Copuride. Copuride will just take care of everything. That's what I think personally. All right, next point to make. I think that's at least standard how even the premium versions of Haval go, like Lux version, let's say, they go with the privacy glass at the back and non-tinted glass in the front here. Regardless, you can see already in the back over there, I have those very cheap $2, whatever, $3 that they cost, those little spring-loaded kind of sunshades that you can stick into any window and block out some of the sun, or at least disperse the rays. Highly recommend that you invest into some kind of curtain or some kind of thing similar to what I have there on the back, because it is way too hot. And if you're driving for hours and the sun is sideways like this, seriously, my friend, you need a curtain. So I have used these magnetic curtains. They are also like $2-3 on eBay, and you just magnetically attach them to the frame of the door, and you are fine. It's great. You know, like, I seriously think that I probably avoided quite a bit of a sunburn by not having to, you know, having to rely just on some kind of other sun deflection. So that's not Haval related, that's any car related for traveling in Australia, absolutely, hands down. What else? As far as fuel consumption, if you're interested, I was driving the whole time on unleaded 91. I did not load 95, and I made the whole way from Sydney to Gold Coast, in Gold Coast for 3 days, back to Sydney on 2.5 tanks of petrol. on 2.5 tanks of petrol. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 50-55 liter tanks here in Haval H6. Do your own research if you really want to, if you're that pedantic. And it's about 2.5 tanks of petrol. It took me, I think it's a very sensible, considering the massive distance that I've covered. Yeah, over 2,000 kilometers. Like, what? Paid $200, $230 maybe, Australian, of course, for the petrol. I think it's more than sensible. That's an insight for you. Now, why did I take off Cap Your Ride? Let's go back to that. Why did I take off that lovely screen of Cap Your Ride from the dash of here, from the panel? Yeah, because, my friends, I'm making space for a lovely new night vision enabled high quality dash cam that I'm going to be reviewing in great detail very, very soon. Lanmodo sent me this lovely sample unit with a Sony sensor. It is much higher quality than what I had before. It is going to be an in-depth unboxing and review. I think it has great value for anyone who is running an Uber, who is running a taxi service, who is in any kind of security services, essentially anyone who is on the road after dark and who has high sensitivity to anything happening and them needing to record it or support their claims that something happened, something else happened. Like, I was simply making space for Lanmodo dashcam. Start-stop problem that I had and reported on recently. You know what to do if your car does not start suddenly with the start-stop button and you had to do the manipulations with the key, and I published a video about that. Check it out if you haven't on my channel just yet. Just to assure you that over the long trip, I had a bit of uncertainty. I was fearful that it might happen again. It didn't. Thank God it didn't. I was very happy that it didn't. So that was, phew, that was all right. That was no problem whatsoever. That's it, my friends. Really enjoyed the trip. We did not pack much. There were only 2 of us in the car. We only had a few bags, so boot space and all that kind of stuff is irrelevant information over here. Light protection from the sunlight, I really recommend it. Fuel consumption was great. Handling was fantastic. Haval H6 is a great car if the style of the vehicle is your kind of vehicle. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you're familiar with any of the elements of this story of what I highlighted today yourself. What is your experience with those elements was like? Let's, as always, have a nice civil conversation in the comments down below. Whether or not you're a supporter of Chinese brands or not, remain mutually respectful and everything is going to be alright, mate. Start offending people and you're going to get blocked without any hesitation whatsoever. Sadly, I had to do that to a few people recently, so this is just an opportunistic reminder, friendly reminder to all of my audience to remain mutually respectful and understand that community guidelines that are there when you just open and start commenting, they're written there front and center for you. They are not optional. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are, and I'll talk to you about something else cars related next week. Goodbye for now.